All right, Shalom. Want to say call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders at GMS to rule well. Peace and blessings to the Akim that's out there fighting, doing this work with truth and sincerity. Just a quick lesson, man. I was, you get to doing stuff, looking at old documents, and you're just constantly busy, man, studying and doing what you need to do. And as you know, just before you, this so-called famous picture that got basically leads to white supremacy. It's to control you, right? But they say image is nothing. But then you had a Sprite commercial. You had a Sprite commercial that said image is everything, right? So if image or this picture don't mean anything, or just how the so-called Jesus of the Bible look like, well then why is this plastered all over the world? You see, if image is nothing. Well, why didn't you go to the book of Revelation chapter 13, chapter 1, verse 13 and 14, and put the correct image, how the Bible depicts our Lord will look like? Why that image is not up there? Why you see these images all over the place? It's just basically Renaissance art. Renaissance means rebirth, because during the Dark Ages, Middle Ages, when Jake was ruling, and the so-called white man was in subjection unto us. So when he came from out of his cave, so to speak, or when he came back into power, he came back through power during the rebirth of the Renaissance period, meaning the rebirth. So all that you see before you is nothing more than Renaissance art. You see? So if image is nothing, why are just images all over the world, man? You see? The Chinese, the so-called Chinese didn't put this image up. The so-called Africans, the so-called East Indians, the so-called Asians, the so-called black people, so-called Mexicans, so-called Native American Indians, so-called Polynesians, so-called Russians, so-called Germans, which are all Edomites at the end of the day. No other nation on the planet has put this image up, but the only person that put this image up is the so-called white man. Because he think in his mind that he is a God, when he's nothing more but a more than mere man at the end of the day. He the one went around the earth. That's why right here, just a quick lesson, man, just talking. Job 9:24 said, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. I wonder why he would do that. To make himself to be superior, to put the people of the world into subjection under him. So this proves that a person that will put an image up like this, his image is nothing, right? Image is nothing. Now, according to the minds of the people say, oh, that's just the pictures, don't. Image is everything. That's what you dummies don't understand, man. So the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So nothing but a wicked, decrepit, foul, vile person would put none other up as an image of this, as you see before you, this so-called Jesus character. But the word Jesus is a Greek term, Jesus. It's Greek. Our Lord wasn't Greek. You see? Job 9:24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judge thereof. If not, where and who is he? So who is this person that put these images up, or put this image up? It's just many images of the same so-called person. You see? This none other than Renaissance art. But then it's crazy when you go to the book of Revelations. The word revelation means to what? To reveal, to unveil something, right? So why? Let's do a process of elimination. Revelations 1:13, 14 and 15. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, the seven candlesticks represent the seven churches. You read down to verse 20, it'll tell you that. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, He had on ancient garments that you see men wearing before you today. Had on an ancient garment, okay, down to the foot and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. And you have it around your waist to protect you from someone who want to come up here and stab you with a dagger or a knife or a sword or anything. It will protect you. You have it wrapped around your big golden girdle around your waist, like a big waistband, so to speak. Process of elimination. His head and his hairs were white like wool. I mean, this image, tell me what this image look like. Do it have woolly hair? Is it white like wool? That's 1,000 of these pictures, more than that up there. Do you see anything white like wool? You see woolly hair? Strike one. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, meaning it was gray. His eyes were as a flame of fire. In prophecy, his eyes were red and flame of fire because our Lord Yahushua drank wine. You see? Is his eyes blue? Strike two. So if image is nothing, why is this image is plastered all over the world and also plastered into the minds of you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans? You go to church, you mean to tell me the pastor up until this day still don't go into the book of Revelation chapter 1 and 13 at least? Ask your pastor to go to Revelations 1 and 13. Ask him to read that depiction, man. Ask him to read that description of our Lord at the end of the day and what he looked like. Why you still, but see, when you people pray, this is the image that you look at. This is the image to look for. But right here in Revelations, it just said his head, Revelation 1 and 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool. This is not woolly hair and it's not white, as white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. His eyes are blue. Long stringy hair and blue eyes. Come on, man. There's nothing but white supremacy written all over it. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they're burned in a furnace, and the voice as the sound of many waters. Now look at this guy's neck and his face. So you mean to tell me his hands and his feet don't look like his neck and his face? Strike three. So if you take a penny and put a penny in the furnace and you take it out the furnace, it said as if his feet like unto fine brass, see, as if they burned in the furnace. Do he like fine? That picture right there, his feet and his hand and head look the same. That's strike three. So why are the churches, the preachers and these so-called pastors, so-called preachers in these churches, and why are these other Israelite groups calling on a man like this who's a Greek, so-called JC? You see? If image is nothing, why is this image is put all over the place? And the sadder part is this image has been embedded in the minds of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This is what you see right here. You don't see Revelations 1 and 13, 14 and 15. Verse 14, his hair and his hair was white like wool. You don't see that. Hold on one second.